Back in 2016, a fire lookout stationed near San Isabel National Forest made a call no one expected. He reported a thin column of black smoke rising through the trees about 3 miles west of his tower. It was after a lightning storm, so dispatch assumed a small ground fire had started. They marked it on the GPS and sent a team. But when the crew arrived, there was nothing. No smoke, no heat signature, no burn scar, just damp underbrush. So the lookout marked the area again the next day. Same smoke, same direction, same height. They sent a drone this time. Nothing. But here's the creepy part. When they reviewed his tower cam footage, it showed a man standing in the middle of the trees, holding what looked like a road flare. But in the very next frame, less than a second later, he was gone. No movement, no trace. And when the lookout zoomed in on the original recording, the man was facing the camera, not the forest. He'd been standing still holding the flare, not to signal distress, but to be seen. And no one has reported a fire there since. But some mornings, when the wind is just right, that thin smoke rises again.
This story was sent to me by someone named Eric. He used to love the quiet out there. Now, he won't take a solo patrol without backup. I never thought twice about a parked van. Not until that one. I'm a seasonal ranger at a national forest in Colorado. It's mostly checking trail permits, handing out maps, and making sure people don't leave trash behind. Most trailheads out here are dead quiet during the week, especially in spring before the big crowds roll in. There's this one parking area tucked back off a dirt road, past a narrow ridge near Timberline Trail. Real remote. On the first Monday of April, I noticed a pale blue camper van parked there. It was old, like the 80s, maybe early 90s, no plates on the front. The back window was cracked, and there was a blue tarp strapped over part of the roof. Didn't seem too odd. I figured someone was backpacking or waiting on a tow. But when I came back Tuesday morning, it was still there. Same spot, untouched. Wednesday, same thing. That's when I jotted down the make and color in my patrol book. By Friday, I was getting weird about it. No movement, no footprints, just parked. I tapped the window once. No response. Didn't want to open it without cause, but I wrote up a note, tucked it under the wiper, and marked it for next patrol. On day 6, the note was gone. The van hadn't moved an inch. That's when I decided to peek inside. The side window was dusty but not tinted. I cupped my hands around my face and looked in. The back was filled, stacked, with old rusted license plates. Colorado, New Mexico, Oregon, Kansas, dozens. Bent, scraped, greasy. It was like someone had been collecting them or ripping them off cars for years. There was also a camping stove, a jug of water, and what looked like a pile of clothes on the floor. But the worst part, the part that made me step back and feel my stomach twist, was taped to the dashboard. It was a photo of me, taken from a distance. I was in uniform, standing by the info board near Timberline Trail. It had to be recent. I was wearing the new patch we just got last month. I backed off and radioed it in. Possible abandoned vehicle at Timberline. Content suspicious, requesting check-in. Dispatch acknowledged. They said someone would come out with me first thing in the morning. I didn't sleep that night. Next day, I led the county officer back to the lot. The van was gone, no tire tracks, no trail of oil, just dead pine needles covering the gravel like it had never been there. We searched the area, nothing. No sign it had ever moved. The woods were undisturbed. I even checked the tree line where I thought the photo might have been taken. No camera, no footprints, just quiet. 2 days later, I got an envelope in the ranger station mailbox. No return address. Inside was a photo, the same one from the dash. But this time, I wasn't alone in it. There was a figure in the background, mostly hidden behind a tree. Hood up, holding something, and scribbled across the bottom of the photo in red marker were the words, "Keep watching, I am." We never found the van, never saw it again, but every time I drive past that trailhead, I glance at the tree line, and I check my rearview mirror way more than I used to. This story was sent in by a woman named Katie. She and her friends just wanted a peaceful weekend in the woods. What they got instead still messes with her. I've rented a lot of cabins over the years, but this was the first one that made me question reality. It was supposed to be a low-key weekend with 5 friends. We'd booked a 2-night stay in Estes Park, a little A-frame cabin tucked up near the base of the mountains. No cell service, no neighbors, just a fire pit, card games, and too much wine. The place was listed as Unit 3 on the site and on all the paperwork. The rental company used lockboxes on the door, code-based, really simple. When we arrived, everything looked normal. The cabin was clean, the keys were on the table, and there was a note that just said, "Welcome to Unit 3. Enjoy your stay." The first night was perfect. We cooked, played board games, and stayed up telling stories on the porch. It felt like a reset from the noise of daily life. Then, the morning after, I noticed something weird. I was the first one up and wanted to go for a walk. I reached for the cabin key, just a simple silver key on a ring with a black tag, and noticed something was off. The tag said Unit 6. At first, I thought maybe someone grabbed the wrong key by accident. I checked the others on the table. All 5 of them now had identical tags. Unit 6. I went to the front porch and checked the number carved above the door. Still Unit 3. The cabin next door, visible through the trees, had a big wooden 6 above it. I stood there, confused, holding a key that now said we belonged in the other place. When I brought it up to the group, nobody had a good explanation. One of the guys, Derek, thought maybe the cleaning crew had mixed the keys, but that didn't explain all of them changing. I pulled out my phone to check the email confirmation, but with no signal, I couldn't load anything. We let it go for the moment. Maybe we'd check in with the rental company when we got back. That night, things got worse. Around 2 a.m., we heard the crunch of gravel outside the cabin, then a knock at the door. Not a panicked knock, just 2 slow, steady hits. Then silence. We all froze. Another knock, still slow, still deliberate. Derek moved to the window but said he couldn't see anyone. We waited. Nothing. No more knocks, no voices. After about 5 minutes, we worked up the nerve to open the door. There was no one there, but all 6 of our keys were now neatly arranged on the welcome mat, still labeled Unit 6. Inside, the key table was empty. We didn't sleep much after that. By morning, we were packing up early. Screw the second night. While loading the car, I walked over to the neighboring cabin, the real Unit 6, just to check something. It looked identical to ours, same layout, same style. But there was a noticeable difference. The front door was cracked open. I didn't want to go inside, but I couldn't help it. Inside, it was empty, like never rented empty. No personal touches, no brochures, no welcome note, just dust. A single chair in the center of the room. A pile of black key tags on the kitchen counter, none of them labeled. When I turned to leave, something scratched the window just behind me. I spun around. Nothing there. But when I got back to our cabin, one of my friends was holding her phone. "I just got signal," she said, showing me the email. It confirmed everything. The booking was for Unit 3. Under it was a second, newer email from the rental company. It said, "We noticed your lockbox access code was used at Unit 6. Please confirm if you have relocated cabins. If not, we suggest returning to your assigned unit. For your safety." We left that hour. I called them once we got back to town. The woman on the phone was polite but clearly confused. She said nobody had a reservation for Unit 6. Not for the weekend, not for the whole month. And here's the part that really got me. She said the lockbox code for Unit 6 had been disabled since last summer. This story came from someone named Ray, a delivery driver in Colorado. And ever since that night, he won't listen to FM radio in the mountains. I used to love the quiet on mountain drives. Not anymore. I'm a nighttime delivery driver. I handle urgent medical supplies, blood, organs, medicine, that kind of stuff. Most of my routes are across Colorado, and they often take me through long stretches of nothing. Highway, trees, cliffs, tunnels. It's not glamorous, but I'm good at it. The roads calm me down. A few months ago, I was heading from Fort Collins to a drop-off in Gunnison. It was a late run. Around midnight, I reached one of the remote passes, a 2-lane road that cuts through some brutal switchbacks. There's a tunnel near the summit, maybe a half-mile long. No lights, no traffic, just black. I always keep the radio low, mostly static or random music to stay awake. That night, I had it on 92.1 FM. It was faint, some jazz station out of Denver. Then, about 20 seconds before I hit the tunnel, the music cut out. Total silence. Then a voice came through. At first, I thought it was just interference, but the voice said, "Driver has one hand on the wheel." I froze. It wasn't a show or a commercial, just a man's voice. Calm, slightly distorted, like someone talking into an old PA system. I instinctively looked at my hands. One was on the wheel. The other was resting on my thigh. Then the voice said he just checked his rearview mirror, which I had done right as it spoke. I reached for the volume knob, but before I could turn it, the voice added, "He's reaching for the radio now." I yanked my hand back. I was about to hit the tunnel entrance. I glanced at the display. Still 92.1. No call letters, no artist name. Then the voice whispered, "He doesn't see it yet." I looked around. Nothing. Just my headlights stretching forward into the mouth of the tunnel. I entered. The tunnel swallowed me in shadow. The voice kept going. 1, 2, 3, he blinks. Headlights steady. No cars ahead, no brake lights, no cell signal. Alone. I slammed the radio off. The voice stopped, but the silence inside the tunnel was worse. It felt heavy, like I was being watched from inside the car. Halfway through, my dashboard flickered. Just for a second, then again, like the battery was straining. And then my passenger side window fogged up, a sudden oval patch like a breath. I swerved slightly, trying to stay straight. Heart hammering. When I exited the tunnel, everything returned to normal. Dashboard solid, air clear, radio dead quiet. I pulled over just past the turnout and sat there, trying to make sense of it. I checked the passenger seat. Empty. I turned the radio back on. Just static now. I scanned every frequency. No voices, no music. Not even the usual mountain fuzz. When I got to Gunnison, I handed off the delivery and asked the night nurse if she listened to 92.1 FM. She said, "That station hasn't worked in years. Signal got cut after the tower collapsed near Bailey." I didn't believe her, until I looked it up myself. The tower was decommissioned in 2018. I stopped driving that route, but a week ago I had to sub for a guy out sick. Same trip, same mountain pass. I kept the radio off the whole time. But halfway through the tunnel, I heard breathing. Not mine. And my passenger window fogged up again.